It's Friday, May 9th, 2014, and I'm heading to work. And I guess the main message thing I've been thinking about is with regard to politics and religion and social agendas and, social conservatism, social liberalism, and the moderates and everything. Basically, the bottom line is, after a lot of thought and hearing from other people, smart people, is that everyone, all sides are right. All sides have a point, a valid point. And so some of the key background to my own research and thoughts in that area is, spending 26 years in the Mormon Church, leaving the Mormon Church, and then living in Texas and Oregon, and then also when I was Mormon, I lived at BYU for a year in Provo. I also was at Rick's College, now called BYU Idaho, for a year. I also went to Alaska for 2 years on a Mormon mission. I also was a temple worker in the Mormon temples, more than one temple worker. So after I left Mormonism, checked out various things, including the kind of the wild scene in Portland, the crazy things that go on there, checking out the hippies, and then more recently marrying a woman from China, where they've had zero exposure to the Mormon Church or even the Catholic Church or most other churches, and examining what their views are, and then also hearing from people like Steven Pinker with his book The Blank Slate, and Daniel Dennett, and a bit of Sam Harris, although between Sam Harris and Dan Dennett, I'm more on the Dan Dennett side on the free will thing. But and also Daniel Dennett talking about how religion is a natural phenomenon. So let me give you some examples about how both sides are right. Okay. So one big issue, controversial issue, is abortion. So it's true that abortion is murder after viability. It's true that after the kid inside is viable, if he or she were to be able to be come out one way or the other, if he or she could survive on their own, then yes, that means that your opportunity for a quote unquote choice of abortion has ended. And so it's also quite true that Margaret Sanger, the founder of Planned Parenthood, she was an advocate for eugenics. And also, a more recent guy, a philosopher named Peter Singer, he's from Australia, he's an amoral fuck. Basically advocating for the value of after-birth abortions. And I mean real after-birth abortions. Like, let's say within the first 30 days, you got some problem with your newborn kid. Oh, it's no problem if you terminate the post-birth pregnancy. See my put it. So that's also a murder, okay, and should be prosecuted like any other murder. But, so that's an example of how the so-called right is correct on that issue. But on the other hand, before viability, the earlier you get to the conception time, further away from viability, the more the word choice, quote unquote choice, is an option. Now, it may not be all that moral of an option, but people should nevertheless be allowed to do it, especially if they're like a crack whore or some other scumbag person, or even in the case of rape. Then the closer you are to, further you are away from viability, going back in time, or from conception, further closer you are to conception, the smaller the new kid is inside, the embryo, whatever, fetus, little beeb. The greater the quote unquote choice is to deal with the situation of unfortunate circumstances like rape, incest, crack whore, pregnancy, all that type of stuff, or major birth defects even, or whatever. But anyway, so that's an example of how both sides are right now. And another example is the whole gay thing. Now, it's true that a gay marriage is not the same as a straight marriage. It's true that gay sex does not have the same inherent value as straight sex. Gay sex is not inherently reproductive. Gay sex is inherently, kind of a dead end. Whatever the biological underpinnings may be for being gay, still, you're having, just because due to the nature of how sex works in people, in humans, and in general, in other animals too, if you have a relationship which is not inherently reproductive, you may, unless you work to avoid it, you may end up having kind of a dead-end stunted life. Okay. Now, there are service-oriented gay people, and they spend their lives helping others. That's great. More power to them. We are personally helped out by such people when we go on vacation, and such a person, and we're grateful for that, and we're grateful that his career path in his own life is basically spent, helping other people, helping kids in a good way, and that's good. So it's true that gay people shouldn't be excluded from apartments. They should be able to form like a legal union where you can have hospital privileges, and maybe tax benefits, health insurance. That's fine. But on the other hand, when you talk about things like adoption, and you talk about things like a kid in a gay household will have their, a straight kid growing up in a gay household will, have his or her straightness valued as much, and be able to grow up in a more healthy way, and not exposed to the crap that goes on in the gay culture, the shit. The right does have a point on that front. Okay. So, yes, homosexuality is natural, but there's a lot of things natural that, people are nevertheless concerned about. We could drop a whole long list of things that are quote-unquote natural that nevertheless should be curtailed. And the level of curtailing, people like Uganda, even people like the Mormon church leaders, they go too far in their condemnation. But on the other hand, the liberals go too far in their acceptance. So that's another example of how both sides are right. Okay. So another issue is overpopulation. Both sides are right. Overpopulation and environmentalism, and tree hugging. Both sides are right. Now, what's an example of how the right is correct on that issue? Okay, overpopulation is a myth. People, especially in so-called first world countries, don't need to be concerned about how many kids they have. They should, if anything, have more kids, because their whole society is more geared toward that. And also, there's something inherently evil about telling people how many kids they should have, or teaching people, giving people an ideology which then forces them, or which will result in them being pretty much a zero on the Great Mandela. Take your place on the Great Mandela. You must choose now, or you will lose now. The Peter, Paul, and Mary song. That applies to whether you have a kid or not. And so we have the right does have a legitimate concern about the left, where the left has people who, like on Gian Gomeshi's show on the CBC, where he has the lady on that says, "STFU parents, shut the fuck up parents." That's basically, and then when I've gone to atheist coffee chats in association with ACF of Utah, and some angry loudmouth lesbian will show up there and say, "Oh, those Mormon families who have a lot of kids, oh, they're so stupid." No, you're the one being stupid, bitch. First of all, for being a lesbian, it's, assuming you could choose to sleep with a man, although you're such a loudmouth, angry asshole, I guess maybe that's why no man wants to sleep with you. But secondly, what was I saying? Secondly, I'm just parking my car. Got distracted a little bit. But anyway, so the right's concern about the, when they view how liberals, how they poo-poo the idea of having kids and having families, and how the left thinks that, in order to be enforce the dogmatic relativism of the left, to fully accept gay marriage, you have to also accept that maybe the idea of having kids is not really a value, and maybe people probably shouldn't have kids anyway because, they're destroying the planet. Well, you're destroying yourself by not having kids. How about that? And so, and the thing is, both sides need to realize that we need to just, work to have scientific and technological solutions to issues which come up as a result of our biology and our history. So if people feel inclined to have kids, there's a damn good reason why we do. Not just because we're all horny and want to have kids, also because it's a good thing we want to have kids for many reasons. And so you choosing to not have kids because of environmental concerns, you're making a terrible mistake in your life. And when the people in the religions look at what you're doing and they see, the left people kind of twirling around in a circle, anti-children, anti-regular family, we have to save the planet by making sure we don't have kids, hysteria on the left, when the religious people look at that, they say, oh, fuck that. I don't like that. I'm not leaving my religion, my God, for your stupid worldview. And it's also true that atheism is a religion. An atheist may not be, but a group of atheists gets together, like Minnesota atheists or a lot of different groups. Center for Inquiry, Atheism Plus. Most atheists, Unitarian Universalists, they know their religion, but humanist groups are religions too. They have their dogmas, they have their doctrines. That's quite true. But on the other hand, it's true that those de facto religions do have some valid complaints about the conservative religions. It's a valid complaint to say that Mormonism, for example, just picking my own experience, when Mormon bishops interview kids about masturbation and tell them that if you masturbate you might become gay, that's child abuse. And teaching children to be afraid of their built-in sex drive, that's child abuse. That child abuse goes on Mormonism. But on the other hand, this is a deeper example. While I was in Washington, D.C., I toured the Holocaust Museum. And one hard question I have to think of is, if Jewish people didn't mutilate the penises of their boys, genitally mutilate, genital rape of little boys, if they didn't do that, would crazy nut job evil asshole Hitler have wanted to kill them? Now, of course, Hitler's responsible, but you have to realize, is it a good thing to, cut healthy tissue on a newborn baby, a newborn boy? Is that a good thing in your religion? And is being isolated from other people, does that isolation that you're doing, the way you isolate yourself by genitally raping your own kids, does that isolation, self-imposed isolation, does that isolation and help you to be, friendly with other people? You have to realize there's in-group and out-group human morality, and if your religion helps you be more of an out-group with other people, you're setting yourself up to be for a fall when you have people come along like Hitler, who can takes out-group morality to an extreme. So, anyway, that's a much more deep issue and hard issue. And, millions and millions of Jews killed in Europe during Hitler's time, that sucks. That's bad. That's evil. I mean, I agree with that. But on the other hand, Jewish people raping their little boys' penises, tearing off healthy tissue off the penises of their boys, it's not so good either. So, anyway, human nature, how to deal with it. So religion is a natural phenomenon by the fact from Daniel Dennett cuts both ways. It shows that fully natural human morality can exist within a fully natural religion. Sorry, liberals. Ultra-liberalism is not the answer to ultra-conservatism. Going all the other way opposite, is just as abusive. So that's the realization I've come to after examining all what goes on when you let it all hang out. You might just get AIDS, die, and leave your straight family with no father, like what happened with my uncle. Or you might become a selfish, petty, have it be a selfish, petty angel reader, nephew who accepts convicted pedophiles into his friend circle when they come out of prison. Or, on the other hand, you might be a service-oriented person who helps people all your life, even though you won't have a kid of your own. Well, that's okay, I guess. That's the best you can do. But straight sex is more inherently valuable than non-straight sex. Sorry, that's just the way it is. So both sides are right. Both sides are right. That's the bottom line. You don't like it? Don't want me in your church? Well, I don't want to be in your fucking church anyway. Atheist church, theist church, whatever church. I just want to be an advocate for science and for helping humanity move forward, survive, and be happy. And if that means I don't accept your stupid religion, left or right, too bad. Okay, have fun.